Okay, hello. How are you guys doing? I'm exhausted, but otherwise I think I'm doing okay. I got some new pictures of some new cool Demon Prince stuff from the Discord from Wall? Wall Dema? Wall? Wally? I'm sorry. I'll get it right eventually. But we got some really cool new pictures, some great looking Demon Prince models, all sorts of cool stuff. And today, yes, it is you. Hello. I apologize for slaughtering your name. That's been my MO all day, is just absolutely ruining it with people's names. However, I did this off camera because I didn't feel like actually going on camera this morning. I'm very tired. Sleep has not come to me too well recently. But I went ahead and did some spot work, some spot shadings. Let's let that go through first. God, it's such a neat model. It's such an awesome looking model. Got the intense eyes going on. Great job with the teeth too, man, and the fangs on the blade and the blood. That all looks fantastic. Okay, we're gonna pop that off real quick because I'm about ready to get started. I went ahead and did some highlight work on the model with the airbrush, and I don't know if I'm happy with it. I think, you know, it definitely brings out some more in the model, but I'm gonna need to keep working on this. I'm nowhere near done. He's close to finish. All of his parts, what I need to do is glue them onto him, and they're done, and the base is drying. That's going to be a great looking model when it's put together. That's always the most exciting part too, when you do the sub-assemblies. He's just got the lower body left. Well, if it looks anything like the rest of your model, that thing is going to be awesome. So, thing I need to do is look at how the client wanted these bits painted. They said, so I think I kind of hit the skin tone. Skin tone to be a pale purple like a lilac or a very pale lavender. And I'll be honest, I know that these colors exist, but knowing what they look like, did I get there? Yeah. It looks like I got about there, looking at some comparisons of lilac. Yep. Yes. I mean, yours is an undivided Demon Prince, right? This one is a Demon Prince of Slaanesh, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. I think it's a great looking model. The client who wanted this did an amazing job putting it together. I love the columns and the cobblestone that was added. Oh yeah, your model is specific to corn. That is correct. But what I need to do next is I need to figure out... It's a greater demon of corn. That is correct. What I need to do next is figure out what else. I'd like the skin to be a pale purple like a lilac or a very pale lavender. And so I'm debating how I should go about this because there's a lot that can be done here. I feel like I want to go back and re-highlight or re-lowlight edge or panel line the muscles to give them... Yes, this is commission work. It was assembled by the client, and now it is my job to try and figure out how to make the client's vision come true. So I'm very excited to do it, and unfortunately, now that I've got it in front of me, I'm a little overwhelmed with exactly what I want to do with the model. I might end up painting over some of the highlight work I did, and giving it a little more focus. To be honest, I undercharged them. Because in my brain, I didn't think it through all the way. I think I ended up... How much did I end up charging them? They wanted it at A tier. So they wanted it at the highest tier of detail. And I was basing my pricing off of troops. I think I charged them $90 for this whole thing at A tier. And now that I actually have it in hand and got to really see its size and the amount of detail on it, I probably should have charged at least twice that, if not more, because this is going to be quite a bit of work. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I'm going to have to put quite a few hours into this thing. So charging $100 for this, $90 for this, if this takes me longer than 4 hours to do, I'm really hurting myself money-wise and for my time. So 2 to 3 times that cost is what I really should have priced it at. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find my purple, find a black, because I'm going to knock... I wouldn't need a tier because I have a box right here with a new Daemon Prince. That's fantastic. A tier because I have a box here with a new Daemon Prince. That's awesome. I'm glad you do too. This is a really cool model, and I'm very excited to paint it. But for the amount of detail that the client wants, I could have charged more. Now, quite clearly, I'm not going to renege on my pricing, especially now that it's at my place. That'd be awful. But next time, I'm definitely going to charge considerably more, because that was my mistake. In fact, as an example, those armatures I was working on, those ones took about 6 hours to do, and based on how much I charged for them, I was making a little under $20 an hour, which for my skill level, I would take that same like him, but Zinch, yeah, I would definitely charge a lot more. For the armor, the most common, I'd like the armor to be painted dark purple with vibrant pink hot flames around the center. This includes the backpack, wrist armor, shoulder pads, and leg armor. And then they gave me a picture, which I can definitely do. So let's go ahead and get that picture in there. I've got a source document open that I'm going to be mimicking as I work through it. But, I mean, I do, but I don't. I also like being able to pay my bills. And, that definitely would be way too little for how much it is. Especially at the top tier. I could do a pretty good Zinchian one at, Love Don't Pay the Bills. If I tried to play that on the bill collectors, they'd repo my house. Laughing all the way to the bank. So, but yeah, I could do a Zinch one. I could put it at B tier, and it would take me about half the time, and that's where I would probably charge about $90 hair. And to be completely honest, it would still be a fantastic paint job. It wouldn't have a lot of the little subtleties like OSL or some of the blending or non-metallic metal, but it would still look really good. In fact, I'm pretty sure you've seen my B tier work. You watched me, I think you watched me do the armatures, and in the photos, those turned out beautiful. So, maybe Bloodthirster on your price range. At A tier, I actually can't tell how big that thing is, but based on the size of the base, how big is the base for the Bloodthirster? That's the big question. I'd base it on that primarily. But I'd probably say around the same 120 millimeters, $5, far more than $5. 120 millimeters, I'd probably say that thing would be creeping at $200 if you wanted it at display tier, because that's basically what A tier is for me. That's where I'm gonna pull out all the stops and it becomes top priority. This is the thing I'm working on for the week, so it would get a good 10 to 15 hours worth of work into it. And that would be a huge promise. Now with this part, it kind of goes into fleshy gun. So I think this whole thing is meant to be fleshy gun. Yeah, it's like a combination armor fleshy gun. So I think I'm gonna start with the darker purple and work my way up. And what my painting, oh, okay. What would be, pants on your t-shirt? Based on what I'm seeing, and of course these are fairly rough photos because they're not super high resolution or anything. I'd probably put that at solidly between B tier and, yeah, probably solid high B tier. No, not Z tier. You're being too hard on yourself. This would, I mean, I based it on like tabletop plus, and parade tier, right? And yours is way above tabletop. Yours is definitely high tabletop plus. You got some cool highlights going on, unless of course that's just hot spots from the lights, which it doesn't look like it. You've got some very intentional highlights going on. You've got some great detail with the technical paints. So yeah, no, this would definitely, and the wings look gorgeous. The wings are definitely a focal point there, and that would definitely be high B tier. I think the thing that would push it into A tier would probably be a little bit more contrast on the metals on the handle, and possibly on like his horns and some other places. But no, I think you did a fantastic job painting that model. It looks so freaking cool. I'd pay to get a model painted like that. Oh man, my brush dried because I was so busy marveling at your paint job. But yeah, Parade tier is like really trying to push the limits of what you're capable of, and trying to get it almost competition ready. You know what I mean? You did a good job. I mean, I might be overrating your paint job a little bit, but as far as I'm concerned, no, you did a fantastic job on that paint job. And so any praise I give you is completely genuine. Like, I like praising people and I like letting them know that giving them positive vibes, but I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass. I think that's incredibly unhelpful in every situation, right? So no, I think you did a really good job with that paint job. Okay. 5 weeks into this, I'd say is stunning. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, let's see. I will say, I have gained a new respect for Games Workshop's brushes, because while I still wouldn't spend $10 to $15 on them, I definitely feel like now that I have a better understanding of how to properly take care of them, I don't feel bad using them. They actually feel really good and have pretty good control. So I retract a lot of my negative ideas that I was saying about them, and how much I dislike them. That was an inexperienced hand playing with brushes that were meant to be played with at an inexperienced level, but also good enough to be used at higher levels. I think what's throwing me off here is primarily that so much of the armor just translates directly into bone and flesh. More highlights on my max, but I need a smaller dry brush. If you're real careful, you could do it with your current dry brush. I don't want to mess up when I dry brush with my big one. That's fair. One of the things I've heard suggested is to take an old beat-up brush that you no longer care about and just chop it off at the halfway point. Obviously, the bristles won't be as fine, and there won't be as many fine bristles on them, but it is still a useful dry brush in a pinch. The other one, which is what I suggest you do, is just get a dang makeup brush and use that. Okay. Now, I'll be honest, when I was making this, I was very unaware of how much of this was flesh versus armor, so I definitely painted some parts of it in correct colors. So I'm gonna go back. There you go, $4 to $5 on a smaller one feels right. I mean, that's kind of what I did. I bought a bunch of cheapo makeup brushes, and for a while I used those. And then I just completely lost my mind, and I bought some Army Painter Masterclass, I guess they called them. I forget. They're dry brushes, and I've been incredibly happy with it. I think I've shown them off before, but it's these ones. Yeah, the Masterclass dry brushes. They're basically Walmart brand versions of Artist Opus's dry brushes, and I think they do the job competently. You know what I mean? I'm not upset that I spent the money on them. Okay, let's go ahead and get more. And he's got these fleshy faces, and I'm not really sure how much of the face I really want to hit with this. I think I'm going to make them purple, and I'm going to work my way up to more of that lilac skin. Maybe a bone? I don't know. I'll have to ask. But right now, they get the same purple base coat as everything else. Okay, the calves are way too black, especially because they're facing up. And I think what also is throwing me off about this model right now is it has so much trim. There is an incredible amount of trim on this model that is just begging to be painted a different color. And so me painting all this purple, I want all the brushes from Artist Opus. Yeah, you and me both. Artist Opus's brushes are apparently phenomenal, first of all. You know, clearly they were brushes that were made by mini painters for mini painters. And so they have a very intentional design to them. And of course, the gentleman who runs Artist Opus is a fantastic painter in and of himself, so they're built to his standards and preferences. But yeah. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'm happy with my Winsor & Newtons, especially after I was educated, enlightened by another user who hopped in to tell me the issue with Kolinsky Sable and how delicate they need to be, or you need to treat them. So I was happy about that, and it made me realize exactly how badly I had been abusing my previous Winsor & Newtons. So when I eventually move on to nicer ones, I will be considerably more delicate with them. So what brushes do you use, Wallet TV? What brushes are your brushes that you have as your standbys? Because I know that not everyone uses the expensive brushes, and I get it, you don't have to. So I'm always curious to see what people choose and prefer for their painting options. Okay. Yeah, the original coloring, the original spray painting on this got a little bit too black, not dark purple like I wanted. I will say, given how small the area is for a lot of the plate on this, I am... Evening, Keith. How's it going? I'm doing great, I think. I'm very tired. I have not been sleeping well, which is fine. But I'm getting to do this really cool commission. This is not a model I would buy with my own money, but I will gladly paint for someone else in the theme of their, or the scheme of their choice. I was actually just talking about that. My biggest concern is that this is very clearly doesn't have a whole lot of like surface area for the plate armor, but the buyer, the client, wants the plate armor to have flames coming off of them, like crawling up them, which I believe is doable, but I don't know how detailed I can get with them because there's not a whole lot of surface to really draw out the flame, you know what I mean? So I'm going to have to do what I can with the space that I have, I suppose. But this is an incredibly neat model, and I'm very excited to paint it. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to approach different spots. I think... some Rotmarder Kolinsky size, yeah, those are good. The Citadel starter brush from a color box, 2 shade brushes, 1 natural hair, 1 synthetic, and an Army Painter dry brush. Yep, that's a really good roster of brushes you got on there. I have a bunch of Winsor & Newtons that I don't use very often anymore because, like I said, I destroyed them. I have one... Understandable. Yeah, the baseline dry brush from Army Painter is ridiculously broad. And it makes it very hard to do detail work. But, I have a couple of Winsor & Newtons that I don't really use much anymore because I've accidentally worn away all of the points on them. And so they don't exactly stick around very well for precision work, which is typically why you have things like Winsor & Newton. So I had been using a liner brush for a while, and the liner brush was able to keep a super fine point, and I guess because it was synthetic, it also did a really good job. Hey, Renee right here. Good to see you. Rawr, y'all getting raided by Renee right here. And oh, geez, I came up with a strong sorry, but also rawr, generic yet witty raid message from a viewer of Renee right here. Hey, Kieran. Hey, Pilkey. Hey, guys. You're here to watch me panic about how I'm going to do some of the details on the Daemon Prince. So instead of doing that, I'm painting a backpack. Well, I'm painting the backpack for the Daemon Prince. Good to see you guys. Glad you didn't get muted by the darn mod bot, which I'm pretty sure I fixed. Glad to see all of you. How was your stream? What were you up to, Renee, right here? Princes need backpacks. Yes, they do. How else are they going to carry their lunch boxes when they go off to school? Why do you choose the backpack? I don't think they wanted the wings. I'm kind of glad they didn't want the wings, because then I'd feel like I'd have to email them and be like, look, I know I said this much money, but with that much more detail work, it's gonna be this much money. If you don't want me to do it, that's okay. The wings are so cool, but there's so much to them, you know what I mean? I'm not sure if, I mean, like I said, they want A-class painting. They want display quality painting. They didn't give me the wings either. They just kind of shipped off it pre-assembled with backpack, which they kept separate because I thought that they were doing wings. Your wings are A-class? They are definitely a class. They are a class of their own. I'm trying to be funny. They are really good. Your wings do look fantastic. And that gives me a lot of faith that I could do wings that look almost as good as yours. Because I've done wings before, and they turn out okay. How are you finding the new Daemon Prince? I was going to paint it yesterday. I was very excited to paint it yesterday. I got home because I found it on my doorstep yesterday morning. And it was because it had been left out all night. I was a little frustrated about that since I never got an alert that it arrived. But I brought it to work with me and I was showing it off and I was super excited about painting it. And so I got home and I was getting ready to get out like a hobby knife so I could cut away some more of the flashing that they'd left on. And I realized I left all of my painting supplies at work. So I did not get to paint it yesterday. And I know that doesn't really answer your question, but I'm doing so now. I'm trying to fix some of my airbrush mistakes now that I've reread the prompt, and I'm really loving it. This thing, look at it. It looks fantastic. I think, Wallet, you're underestimating yourself. You're underselling yourself. Your models look fantastic. Yeah, this is the new Daemon Prince, Kieran. I don't know if you've seen it before. So you probably know the old one, and just look at the amount of detail they managed to cram into this damn thing. Actually, give me a second. I have an old one I can show you guys in comparison. It comes in a full-size box, first of all, but secondly, just look at the difference in the quality of the model. Now, don't get me wrong. Old Daemon Prince looks fantastic. I really like the old Daemon Prince, but there's definitely a lot more simplification on it. Yeah. This is what I think of you. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely, they're about the same size actually when you look at them, but this one is clearly more dynamic. It's got more more greeblies all over it. It's just a good looking model. This one you can tell is an older sculpt, but not a bad one. I mean, I think the claws are a little silly, don't get me wrong. But, we got this as part of a trade. Yeah. The horn flare does do a lot. Yes, it does. There's just a lot more to it. And I'm going to argue that I actually really like this one a lot, because it reminds me of Dawn of War and that game series. And it also reads more as a game piece. And I can get a real clear identification of what it is. This from, 3-4 feet away is gonna kind of become a mess to look at. So there's nothing wrong with this model. This is a great model, but in terms of trying to make it readable from the table, it's gonna kind of blend in with a lot of the other units. And yeah, Dawn of War is a great game. I really wish I had better appreciated it when I was younger, but I refound it last year 2 years ago during the pandemic, and I really understood why that game's so great and why so many people love it. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, the Daemon Prince skin is entirely dry brushed. I have not touched it with not dry brushed, I'm sorry, airbrushed. I've never really done airbrushing for like skin like that with the spots, and I tried it, and A, I had a lot of fun, but B, found out that I had the skill set to do it. And so it ended up looking, I think, really good, and I'm glad you guys like it too. I'm gonna go back through it, and I'm actually going to do some better highlights and shadows, but I was pretty jazzed with how good it ended up looking, given that it was done entirely on a whim this morning. I ended up cheating with my Thousand Suns Daemon Princes. I got some of these, so I ended up getting 2 princes for the price of 1. You got Morghast Archive. You do airbrushing, guys. Consider getting one. Can I show you a link in Discord? Yeah, go for it. I've got so many people here, and they're all so talky, and I love it. Oh, that is really cool. The Morghast Archive. Those are the Bone Reaper guys. Not Bone Reapers, are they? I don't. Archive or Nagash's. Yeah. Those are fantastic, and they look really good for that too. Okay. I'm getting things. Okay. The Kasubaris airbrush kit with compressor portable. Okay. So I'm going to say this looks like... Oh, that's cute. It's got battery thingies. This looks to me like it's almost identical to the one I have. It's going to be lying about the PSI. I'm going to tell you right now. If it says it's doing like 30 PSI, it's a dang liar. It's probably getting like 15 to 20. This is almost... Oh, today is a blessed day. Wallet, thank you so much for this. This is my favorite thing I've ever found. Oh my god, I'm sharing it with you guys. Give me a second. I promise you're gonna love this. Oh, that is the best picture ever. But no, yes, that one will serve you well, but cleaning it's gonna be a bitch. Pardon my language, but the way that they're built, the cleaning part is a little more complicated, a little more frustrating. But underneath, they had pictures of what you can do with this and how you can use it. And oh my god. Just spray it right into your friggin' eye. I mean, they're claiming it's for makeup, and that's fine. With airbrush foundation makeup, you work with a spray gun, which connect with a compressor with air that delivers a very even stream of makeup. That's definitely a fine starter, yeah. But that's hilarious. I've got, you know what? I know someone else who made something like this. Give me a second. I've got just the picture for this. Is this it? Oh my goodness, I was going to work on stuff, but now I'm just gonna shitpost. It's fine. Okay, open image in new tab. There we go. Image. Please work. This is what I need in my life. I need more of you guys trying to watch me paint and then me getting incredibly distracted by absolute garbage. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that image. I wonder if this will work right or if this is gonna cause a problem. Nope, it works perfectly. Here we go. So this was what immediately came to mind. Oh man, thank you, Keith. You knew exactly where I was going. Oh, that's hilarious. Everyone, go buy yourself a makeup brush and then shoot yourself in the face with the makeup or the makeup gun. Perfect. Please don't shoot yourself in the faces. But oh my goodness, that's just too funny. That's far too funny. But yeah, I'm kind of unsure of where to go next with this thing. I think since I've got the purples in here, and like I said, one of the biggest things of concern that I'm having is that the person who wants these, the person who I'm doing this for, the client, that's the word. Yeah, we just need to get a makeup gun for painting minis, right? We just need to go ahead and make a makeup gun for mini painting. I do have a 9mm upstairs. I could load each. Actually, no, we can get a paintball gun. They make these. They're called paintball guns. But we can very easily make this happen. We can buy a paintball gun and I can just shoot the mini and I'll post it on YouTube, and I'll become the next meme painter. And then everyone else will just be sad that I'm making the hobby worse. But anyway, what was I saying? I'm at a point right now. This always happens when I start a new model because I have a very safe method that I use for painting, and whenever I get a new model, it's always a paint scheme that I would never use, right? And that's the fun. I love painting new paint schemes that I personally would never go with because people are incredibly creative, and it's super cool seeing what they come up with. But I always get kind of gun-shy about, okay, how am I going to do this? And it tends to turn out okay, which is fine. But in this case, the thing I'm most worried about is the client really wants all the parts of the armor to have like a purple-pink flame motif. And I'm honestly not sure how I'm going to do that with the limited space that each of these plates have. And so I'm going to figure it out. I'm gonna work through my my consternation about it. I'm gonna do the best job I can. Oh, I think that brush is gonna be fine. Like I said, the biggest thing about it is be careful with cleaning it and the maintenance, because it's going to be titchy. Like I said, I have it's called a Yofu, and it's essentially the same brush. It just doesn't have the replaceable battery, but it's going to probably claim to be a 32 psi. It's not. They are not 32 psi. That's a bald-faced lie. At most, it's, like I said, 15 to 20, which is acceptable for doing mini painting. The needle's going to be good, but you're going to need to get yourself some airbrush thinner and some IPA, because that's going to be the best way that you're going to clean it. And I don't mean India Pale Ale, I mean isopropyl alcohol. And yeah, I would also strongly suggest you either get or acquire a jug of water, like a pitcher, so that you have like a cleaning tub, and that will go a long way in helping you keep it clean. But you're gonna want to learn how to disassemble that brush, and if you need to, once you get it, one moment. Okay, but an airbrush holder thing, yeah, that would be a good idea too. No, just stick it in butter. Just get a block of margarine and stick it in there. They make these, and mine is clearly a mess, but this works perfectly fine as an airbrush holder. I picked up a Raphael brush, not tried it yet, but it was worth a try given that they're half the price of a Series 7. I've heard nothing but good about Raphael. I didn't realize they were that cheap on American Amazon. They're still very expensive, so I have not gotten them. But I've heard that they're incredibly high quality, and actually some people prefer the Raphaels now to what that Jag called, Benry? Oh, the jar? I honestly don't remember. Give me a second. Let me get some highlights on here for yeah. It's like an airbrush cleaner jar. Give me a second. I'll find it in my purchase list from like 2-3 years ago. It's really common in for people with airbrushes to have that. So I'm pretty sure you could find it on YouTube really quickly if you were to type in like accessories for airbrush. But airbrush cleaning pot. Thank you. I knew it was something similar. But yeah, it's very much worth it. It holds whatever IPA you manage to or airbrush cleaner fluid that you have. You spray it directly in there, and it deals with those problems. It's very nice. Okay. I'm happy to know the difference between normal brushes that I use. Yeah. There's just so much terminology in this hobby. Not that that's a bad thing, though. And I keep forgetting I moved the camera so it's a little lower and closer. So A, I can hold this thing a lot closer to my body, and B, it definitely illuminates better. Never touched this 6 weeks ago, so why not using an airbrush too? Exactly, right? Trust me, when you get an airbrush, it's going to change your life for a bit. Also, can I say something that I find really funny? When I first got this model and I was first airbrushing it, I figured that, like, this was exposed skin, maybe, and this was exposed skin, and this was exposed skin. You basically put the water / airbrush cleaner / IPA in the cup and spray it in the pot. They have a filter and the vent to contain a lot of the fumes. Yes, that's why you want one of those. But yeah, I was like, maybe that's exposed skin. But then I looked a little further and realized, no, he's got like clear delineation between his ankle and the metal. So this is not exposed skin. This is armor. And I was looking on the back and I was like, but isn't this exposed skin? And then I realized, no, this boy has cake. He's got some big old heckin' booties right here. And I was not expecting that. So that caught me off guard. And like I said, the next thing I'm trying to figure out is how am I going to paint the flames on this thing? Because there's definitely going to need to be flames on here somehow. And I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to figure out what color the flames are going to be. And then I'm going to figure out how I want to paint them on there. New Daemon Princes is 90% armor. It really is. Except for the 10% where it matters, right? Now, unfortunately, this gives me terrible thoughts because my buddy Soft Servo, he likes to do... He has a really bad sense of toilet humor because for a long time, he used to work with, like... people whose mental faculties were not there, right? They were either intellectually disabled, or they were developmentally disabled, or they were senile. And so one of the things that came out of that is that a lot of the time they struggled with bodily functions, right? So he would have times where he would have to deal with, hey Ohana Hobby Workshop, how's it going? Oh, that's not fair to the Germans. But no, he used to work with those that were, you know, either intellectually disabled or suffering from early onset Alzheimer's or whatever. But what it meant was that he had to deal with a lot of people who didn't have full control over their body functions. And while that is very sad and that is very upsetting, it meant he had to deal with a lot of poop. There were patients that would, you know, soil themselves or get angry and throw temper tantrums and just make absolute messes. Just all the horrible stories you can think of. Fair enough. Fair enough. I am not German, so I have to stick up for them where I can and try not to offend anyone too badly. But, and it meant that it kind of lost its shock value to him. And so now he just finds poo very funny. And when he found out that I was going to start painting Nurgle and start painting Death Guard, that was obviously the first thing that came to mind. And he never wants to play Death Guard because when he was younger, his friends were always like, hey, Soft Servo, you should paint Death Guard because, or you should play Death Guard because they're gross and fat and slimy, and you know, that's the kind of thing you like. The kind of humor you have, and it was just annoying. So he has a strong aversion to the idea of playing them. But seeing other people play them and paint them is perfectly fine. So he has kind of lived vicariously through me. And that meant that there have been a lot more poop jokes with my Death Guard than I expected. And I find it hilarious. Like, the Blood Bowl Nurgle team, I made it so that every single one of them were shitting their pants. And to me, that is the height of comedy. And I think it's absolutely hilarious. Okay, so how am I going to do the flame? We're going to go ahead and add some purple, or some pink to it. And so my immediate thought just now, as I'm looking at the exposed butt on this Daemon Prince, is like, if I ever decide to get a Daemon Prince, first of all, he's going to be Nurgle, so he fits with my Death Guard army. But secondly, now that I know he's got an exposed butt, it is going to have an incredible blowout. He is going to look like a baby who lost control. Because, of course, that is where my brain goes now. Thank you, Soft Servo, wherever you are. You made me think about giving a Daemon Prince a blowout. Yes, it will also have wings. My Daemon Prince is going to fly with a blowout in between his legs, so he's just going to threaten to drop deuces on every Imperium soldier he finds. Okay, so I did a flame sequence on one of these, and I don't remember how I did it, so I'm just going to go ahead and play with it a bit and see what I can come up with. and hope that it looks okay. And see, again, this is where I get a little bit anxious because this is not something I paint regularly. I think I did a pretty good job with flames on Adrax Agatone, but that was on a much smaller scale. I could show you how you paint your wings. That would be neat. One of these days we're gonna have to do like a powwow where I get to see how your wings are painted. Because like I said, I kind of know how. I've done it before. I have a couple things with painted wings. I have a Mortarion who I painted. I'm not happy with the wing job on that one, but it was a nice base to move off from. And then I have like a brass dragon or a clockwork dragon that I painted, and I think the wings on that turned out pretty okay. This is coming through a lot more pink than I expected. Here, their first wings. You did a good job. Those are your first wings. Holy crap. You did a really good job on those. Okay. And we're just going to go ahead and hope that this is going to look okay for what she wants. What they want. I do not know the gender of this individual. So they gave me a reference picture of what they wanted their flames to look like. And I'll be honest, I'm going to do my best. 6 weeks into building paint. You're doing a really darn good job, if that's the case. I wish that my models looked as good as that 6 weeks in. Kind of, yeah. They had a picture of nail art. It was still wet. Give me a second. They had a picture of nail art that they sent me. And honestly, since I'm doing the dang thing, I should go ahead and use it. No, not that. As funny as that is not what I'm looking for. Give me a second. The Daemon Prince. No, I didn't save it. I'm a doofus. I must have put it in the file, and that's why it is not saved. Oh, it's right there. Boop, 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 boop. Go ahead and watch the gun. Okay, I think I might need to go back and go a little darker. So, no, I don't want that in wings. I want that in Daemon Prince. There we go. Okay, you need to head off as you need some sleep. Enjoy the rest of my stream. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, Pilkey. Go get some rest. So this is kind of what they're going for. And I think what I probably ought to do is go back down to a darker purple and then paint over it with the flames and then paint the pink. But at the very least, somehow I like them, somehow I dislike them. Well, that's Slaanesh for you. Like, I am oddly turned on yet disgusted by what I see. I think it's a good look. I'm not an overly creative person, I say as I continue painting, but like, I'm not an incredibly creative person for coming up with things, so I'm really excited when I get to see other people's creations. It's one of the reasons why I really wanted to like join the mini painting community, is it provided me an opportunity to see other creators and the things they came up. Did some freehand with his banners. That's very cool. Freehand is hard. My freehand looks like trash 90% of the time. The best example I can give of that is I've tried the freehand Imperial Fist emblems on shoulders. It's always kind of embarrassing for me to go back to. Got an early start tomorrow, so I'm going to log off. Best of luck with the rest of the stream. Thanks for being here, Keith. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here. I really love the fact that you guys are here, and I hope y'all are enjoying it while you can. And if you need to go, then how's it going? It's going pretty well, Ohana Hobby Shop. I'm way in over my head. I'm doing a commission right now. The client asked for like a flame motif to come off of the, oh, that's the wrong way. A flame motif for the armor. And so I'm struggling. Okay, I'll look at it in a second. One moment. I'm struggling a little bit with this. I'm having a struggle. So I'm gonna repaint that real quick. Okay. Yeah, those are some good looking flames. Some good looking corn heads. Let's go ahead and throw that on here. Let's give that a quick look. Imig. Call me Mango? That's right, that's the other name that you go by. Okay, so this is what he's talking about. His friend free-handed some banners. Those look really darn good. I'm always impressed by lettering done with paintbrushes, because for me it's always so dang hard. I'll try and remember that, Mango. I'm pretty bad about that. I've got 150 kids whose names I've got to remember, and I'm good about it for the year. Once the year is over, most of them are gone. Your brother, not your friend. Your brother did a great job. That's the best I can say. Your brother did a really good job with those and should be proud of him. Okay, let's try this again. Back to the regular purple, now that I have a little bit more room. And we're going to go ahead and go from the knee. I think you could. You just need practice. Like, if you had told me a year ago, try and paint this Daemon Prince to the level that I'm trying to paint it at, I would have laughed at your face. I would have just laughed at you. Like, no way. But with enough time and practice, I felt like I was able to do this kind of stuff. And so here I am. Okay. That's actually looking pretty good. And I think I can play with this. It's already 11:30 p.m. I know, time flies when you're watching someone flail and panic as they try and paint things. It is getting pretty late for you guys. It's about 5:30 for me, so I've got about another hour-ish on here. I have, actually, of all people, Soft Servo coming over because we're going to exercise together. You should have go to bed like half an hour ago? Well then, Wallach, get off the computer and go to bed. I appreciate you being here, but I also would prefer you get enough sleep for your whatever you got to do tomorrow. 10:30 for you? You're based out of Britain, right, Mango? If I recall properly, you were based out of Britain. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but that's what I recall. Skip south of England. Fair enough. Geographically, I kind of know where that is. Pardon my American creeping in. It's 5:30 here. I am on the East Coast, doing my best. And you know what? I think this is going to end up looking really freaking cool. I think, though, I'm going to need some more color variation, because I don't believe having these all purple is going to look very good. Maybe they will. I don't know. Okay. Like, geographically, where is London on the island? Actually, I could look this up, but I think I've gone away from my stuff enough. I really don't want to go too much further or too many more times. I want to really focus in on this. Okay, I'm gonna just do some broad strokes here. Painting my first set of wings I need to finish. Fair enough. Wings are hard. I do kind of like, though, that because of the intricate webbing on them, you do get to cheat a little bit with a dry brush if you really need to. When I painted my my not full grim, that's what I ended up doing. And I think they turned out pretty good. There's definitely a lot of depth to them in contrast. Okay. You got a Morty? It's about 2 hours away from you. That's fair. Yeah, Mortarion is his own monster. I want to do some... I am really impressed with, like, those amazing free hands that you see of Mortarion's wings, with, like, the moth eyes and the human eyes and everything. Those always impress the ever-loving bejesus out of me. And I've always wanted to try them, but I'm way too scared. Okay. So we're going to do some wispies. Coming up the armor. Hope that the wispies end up looking okay. Unfortunately, the glare from the light is making it hard to see the wispies. And this is actually something I should have asked the client, is basic level. Oof, good luck. Even that's difficult. My Morty was with the wings. I tried to do something cool. I wanted to do like a wood moth with them, and I was not at the appropriate skill level to attempt it, so they just ended up looking terrible. And I ended up completely going back over it. And when I did that, it ended up looking really bad too, until I futzed around with it enough, and now it looks okay. Because that's right, you're a speed painter, right? You're really, really good at painting a ton of models really quickly. And so you're not necessarily trying to win any painting competitions with them. You just want them to be tabletop ready and look good on the tabletop while you make them fight each other, right? Which I think in itself is some kind of modern marvel. Being able to paint that many minis that consistently, I can't do it. I've tried, but I can't do it. I think that's the best I can say about it. Yeah, I'm really struggling at how I'm gonna hit some of this stuff. I'm gonna try my best though. Painting 35,000 points in 2 weeks in March, and I do speed paint and competition pieces too. Okay, so the skill, the ability is clearly there to go at a higher level of detail than speed paints, but it's just that you specialize in bulk paints, which is really neat. Okay. Okay. So it looks like in every one of these cases, at least on the nail painting, it goes about halfway up the nail with the primary color, and then it kind of works its way back down via the individually lighter colors, which is fine. Army painting is my jam to my bread. That's fair. I can do it, but I can't hit that meditative state where I can zone out and it becomes fun for me. So it's really, really cool to see people who are really good at it. I'm actually at a point now where, because I'm just kind of this ridiculous perfectionist with a lot of things, that if I'm not painting it to a certain standard, it's driving me nuts. But now that's going to start biting me in the butt when I start having to paint things, or when I try and paint everything to parade standard. I'm doing that right now with my my Custodes, and it's definitely turning into a thing. Because Custodes are ridiculously detailed, and I need to calm down and stop trying to get them all up to that level. I get focused, and tunnel vision music helps as you paint to a beat. That's fair, man. That's an incredible skill to have. Not a skill I have, but it's super freaking cool that you do. Okay. This is not going on dark. Add more white, maybe? Is it going on there? Is it just going on real thin? I think it's just going on real thin. Now, I can focus like that. I can hyper-focus on individual models because I get really, like, deep into the minutia. And while I still don't think I'm super great at doing a lot of the blending and shading, I do know that that's where my zen comes in, is being able to paint that stuff. So I think we're just on opposite ends of the spectrum there. Though I do also believe that because I'm still relatively new to this hobby, I struggle with the ugly stage in my painting, and it tends to make me kind of cover up the work I did, so it doesn't really get to be revealed by the next, or, you know, complemented by the next layer. So that is where I struggle. But I'm trying my best to be better about it. You use washes? Yeah, washes are beautiful. Washes are the best. I was having that problem with the last set of models I was painting, the two armigers that I was doing for a commission. I really wanted the models to look good, and I painted the scheme like the client wanted me to, and all I could think of was just how blocky and chunky all the colors looked, and how terrible it looked, until I hit it with my dark wash, and then suddenly it all went together. Like, it was like a puzzle falling into place, you know what I mean? You make your own wash? Yeah, that's definitely a big positive. I made a wash using Guy from Midwinter Minis recipe, and I was incredibly impressed with it. And so I tend to use it on bigger projects or when I need to do like a dirty wash or something, you know what I mean? Because his recipe, at least the way I use it, it always comes out a whole lot dirtier looking than if I were to use, say, Agrax Earthshade or something. Go ahead and go a little brighter on some of the details in here so they really pop. Yeah, kind of my goal here is I don't want this to be... I don't want to really have to use a wash on this. Though I suppose I will if the need arises. Okay, how bright are you going to be? Let's test you on a spot that is going to be a little higher. Hey, you look like you're about the right. I don't even know if it looks like I'm making a difference, but that's okay. There's just so much going on with this model. I hope he's staying in focus. When I was trying to paint the Elsa doll, or the Elsa one that I was doing a couple weeks ago, that was something I noticed, was that I was struggling to keep the model in focus, and there were parts where it just listed completely off camera. Like, well, that's great. People are gonna love watching that episode of Ben Repaints. I never ended up posting it because I really wanted to knock it down to a speed paint, but there's so much content there that, for that video, that I can't just play the entire thing like a speed paint. I'm gonna have to start cutting out sections and the like. And I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. It's just a project that fell to the wayside since my main way of doing this is via Twitch, not YouTube. Okay. Go ahead and get those eyes. Now, the client asked for the eyes to just be like shark black. You know what I mean? They're just going to be a deep black with just a little reflection of like a white in them. A little shine. So, I know they were talking about the main face, but I'm also going to do that to the eyes in the demon mouth, or the demon cauldron. Let's see if I can hit this just right. That's way too bright. Let's go ahead and knock that down a little bit. No, 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 no. Ooh. Okay. That's better. Go. I think, unfortunately, the black that Vallejo puts out is just a little too matte. Okay. That one doesn't have eyes. Those are all skeletons, so I don't need to worry about them too much. Yeah, most of this is going to end up getting... I think what's really going to sell this is going to be getting the wash, or getting the gold trim on it. That's what's probably going to sell a lot. Wait a minute, I don't need to make that. Okay, so working with the flames. I forgot the flames are reaching this way and working their way back. I'm going to have to send them an update, and I really hope that this is what they were thinking about with the flames. Though, to be honest, if it's not, it'll be very easy to fix, thankfully, because all the colors are starting out so dark. Same kind of thing. Work our way back into the rest of it. And then it's going to get interspersed with other colors. Hopefully. Okay. Now, I will be honest, I do kind of wonder how that person got their nails to be so clean, because there are some very complex flames going on in there. And it might just be that I'm overthinking it, and that's not exactly what they want. They posted that they want it to look kind of like this. So, they didn't say this is exactly what it needed to look like. But since that was the comparison they gave me, that's what I'm working towards. And I suppose in this case, it's one of those examples of reach for the stars so you might hit the moon. But it is really anxiety-inducing to be like, hey, here's a really, really good paint job. Try and do that. But of course, I relish the challenge. And I'm having a lot of fun figuring it out. I gotta say, there is a lot. The purple pink mix I made is showing up as such a strong pink here. I'm so enamored with that right now. And it's one of my favorite things about colors that I've learned primarily through all this painting, is that you end up with this craziness where it's like, I'm going to take a dark purple and I'm going to put it over a darker purple surrounded by a black. And then when you put it on there, it's like a neon pink. Though I swear to you, this is not a neon pink. It's this color, right? And I guess it makes sense once you put it next to it, but it's definitely closer to a purple than a pink until you put it on the model, and then suddenly, it is a pink. Color is just some kind of wizardry. That's all I gotta say. Go ahead and do a little bit more. Pray that it's going to be good enough. Scooch it back a little bit. And I think what's probably going to save this model is that it is all going to get a wash. And so hopefully that wash will do a good enough job of hiding some of what I would consider to be my mistakes. Let's bring that back a little bit. Oh yeah, I should probably do the tail, or the tail armor too, shouldn't I? I'll get back to that in a second. Okay, that's gonna look good. I'm sorry guys, it'd be a little more conversational right now, but I'm so zeroed in on this. I do know that my understanding of flames and light in general is that the closer the flame is to the source, the brighter it burns. So following the thought process that they had in that picture, I'm trying to make it so that at the furthest tips away from the center of the source is where the flames burn darkest, which in this case is that darker purple. And the closer I go, the brighter that flame is going to get, until I guess eventually it's going to have to be some kind of white, which is going to snake through there, right? And actually, I think I'm being too hard on myself. That looks pretty darn good. Okay, a little bit of fire there, a little bit of fire there. As it goes along there. But yeah, how am I supposed to... Well, I mean, this is how I'm supposed to, but that was my immediate thought as I saw some of the bits on it, is like, there's a lot of really complicated bits on here. How am I supposed to try and extrapolate a flame out of some of these small areas? And I guess the answer is do it. No questions, no thoughts, just do it. You screw up, paint over it. Oh no, I got a whoa that I can't look at because I am busy. Was that a... I have no clue. I'm losing my mind. That's okay. So, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and keep on keeping on with the flames, try and make them a little pointier. Now the next thing I'm kind of curious about is the chaos symbol on his arm. So my thought is I want to make that thing on fire, but I'm not sure how to go about that. Again, light source near the bottom or near the center is going to be brighter, but how would I make that look good? What part of him should be the brightest? Where is there's the new Daemon Prince. Why is it in British pounds? I'm not in Britain. I'm in the United States. Okay, so yeah, we got that one. Okay, I see what they did. Yeah, we can do that. We can do like again, darker colors to lighter colors in there. So what's going to happen with him? Swedish Muppet Guy, do you by chance have Magma Droth Flame? No, I do not. I have very few Citadel paints. I'm using mainly Vallejo paints right now, and that is definitely leading to some interesting options for me to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint everything in this dark purple. Also, Swedish Muppet Guy, welcome. The Swedish Chef is my favorite Muppet. Mainly because I feel like for a long time, or for a lot, I just like to speak in gibberish, and his gibberish is my gibberish. Which I'm pretty sure you're probably tired of. I know your name is Swedish Muppet Guy, so obviously you're not too tired of hearing about it. But what I think I'm gonna do here, paint it at darkest inside the dealie, and so now the next step is going to be to paint a little bit more precisely with a brighter color, and hope that this paintbrush is thin enough. I also like to cook, and I'm not very good at it, so I definitely feel a lot of those sessions, those bits. Okay, but anyway, no, I don't have Magma Droth Flame. I actually don't even know what color that's supposed to represent. Games Workshop has gotten so creative with naming their paints that I forget what each of them are supposed to be. Let's see, that's gonna go in like so, and we're gonna do another one just so the colors are a little bit more vibrant against the dark. And I think the actual bony bits on the symbols, I'm just going to try and paint a hot lilac into a very bright white. Super bright single pigment orange contrast paint. Oh, okay, I see what you're trying to do here. That would be neat to do, but this is a commission piece, and so I'm gonna try and make, I'm trying to use as few like shortcuts as possible, which is weird because I painted most of the beginning of it with an airbrush, but I'm trying to do as many of the details and like shades with as much like hand paintedness as possible, you know what I mean? So I'm really working on getting in these tiny little spots. I need it to be brighter. Yeah, they paid good money for this, and as I've mentioned before in chat, I probably undercharged them for the kind of work that they're getting, but that's fine. That's mea culpa. I'll learn from it and make sure to charge more next time. This is supposed to be a display level, or at least close to display level paint job. I've got it on what's called my parade tier. Airbrush isn't a shortcut. That takes a lot of skill. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Thankfully, I have no idea what I'm doing with that thing too, so... I'm just kidding. I have some clue. I know kind of what I'm doing. But yeah, so I'm just gonna try and get little dots and hope that it'll read. I think it's not gonna read. I think I need to go brighter and then go even brighter with the dots. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go brighter with these dots. So what's gonna happen instead is these dots are gonna transform into much brighter coloring. And then from the brighter coloring, I can put even brighter dots on them. And then I shall be pleased. Get it more in there. So is this the new Daemon Prince? Yes, this is the new Slaanesh Daemon Prince for a Slaanesh army. They requested a bright purple, almost lilac skin, flame motif on the armor, which I'm only about a third done with. What else? They said either true metallic or non-metallic metal. I'm going with non-metallic because I hate myself. But beyond that, a lot of it is pretty straightforward. I probably, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna go ahead and do the eyes. I have really bad goldfish syndrome with a lot of my painting. I see a part that I realize I can do, and then I try and get that done, and then forget where I was a second ago. They wanted black shark-like eyes. You know, completely pupilless, possibly a little reflection if I can. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit these. Oh, that looks good. That one I did a good job. This one possibly could have done a better. But yes, this is the new Daemon Prince. I was really surprised when I saw the model at my local game store, because I didn't realize it came in such a freaking huge box. One of my other friends has an older Daemon Prince that he's left at my house because he eventually plans on painting, and he tends to paint at my place. And so I've seen what the old ones look like, and I think they look great, but they're in a much smaller box. Go. I want to. This makes me want to get one too. I want to get a Nurgle one, and I'm gonna make him poop himself because apparently he does not believe in wearing underwear. The creature cast demons, I have not. They probably look great. I probably have, actually, now that I think about it. There's a pretty good chance that I have seen them, and I just don't remember names, because I've gotten really bad about it unless it's a specific group that I enjoy. So, like, I'm a big fan of one-page rules and Station Forge and Puppets War, and so those are the ones I know really well. Everyone else, and there's Marta Punk Girl and 3D Art Guy, but those are the ones I know really well. Everyone else I'm familiar with because I've spent a lot of time trolling the My Mini Factory and whatnot, but I don't have a really strong living memory of name to mini, if that makes sense. But I also really strongly believe that, like, there are a ton of incredibly talented mini sculptors out there. Chaos Warrior is an exalted Chaos champion, but yesterday I decided to buy myself a Baneblade, and now I'm more hyped to build that than the Slaves of Darkness. Understandable. Baneblades are huge and fun and cool. And obviously you're a glutton for punishment because you're playing Austromilitar. Imperial Guard. I don't want to call them by their goofy name. So that should be a lot of fun for you to sculpt and put together, and I wish you all the enjoyment in the world on that monstrosity. I actually don't know if this is for a 40k or a Age of Sigmar army, but either way, super neat model. It's very much making me want to get one for my Death Guard army. And yes, I'm gonna turn it into oh, I see. You're doing the smart thing. I have a friend who plays orcs, and Everything is an orc model, whether you believe it or not. Creature Caster. King of Onslaught. Oh, yeah. Oh, that is a really good Not Angron. That is a really good Not Angron. I don't want to spend that kind of money. Can I just get the STL of it so I can... Well, no, actually, I'm going to be getting an Angron for my friend. I sold a bunch of his models that he didn't want anymore, and he wants an Angron, which is interesting to me because he hasn't had the time to paint the damn thing, but he wants to own one. And so I'm going to see what I can do about getting him an Angron. Let's look at this Creature Caster. I went ahead and chose the colored one because it's going to be easier to see. There is Creature Caster's Angron. Oh, actually, Swedish Muppet Guy, since you've never been here before, and since you are an orc fan, I'm going to... Yeah, I know, he's big. He's a big old boy. He's the biggest boy. And he is going to crack your Cadia if he can. But Cadia's already cracked. He does not care. He's a big old boy. Okay, so I show this off quite a bit because I'm really proud of it. But, Station Forge has the Orcas. O-R-K-A-Z, right? And, they're supposed to be, the orcs. And so they have their own version of the Stompa, but they can't call it the Stompa because of proprietary reasons, right? So they call it the Mega Steppa. And, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, he plays orcs, but he also doesn't have like a ton of money. So I went ahead, he visited from Michigan down to Virginia where I live. So I went ahead, as for a Christmas present, I painted him this Orca's Mega Steppa. So give this thing a look. This is the Orca's Mega Steppa. It comes with 3 of the crew up top, but I also printed out an Orc Mobsta to act as, like, the captain. The boss. But yeah, this was an incredibly fun model. It took 17 print jobs for me to get him. Getting Sweeby and antsy from sitting so long. I'm gonna head off to bed. Go ahead, Kieran. Have a good evening. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate the support, and I hope you have great dreams. And yeah, this guy is something else. He's magnetized, too. I magnetized his arm, and I magnetized his gun on the top of his head. I really love... Wait. The gun is going into the thumb. He's now shooting warp fire out of the flesh stump. Oh, man, that's perfect. I can't believe I set that up. I'm a genius. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put him away, because I really do need to get back to work on this. I'm on the clock, dang it. Boss is going to yell at me if he catches me slacking off. Just kidding, I'm the boss. Yes, I have heard of Gear Guts Mech Shop. As a matter of fact, and this nearly made me, like, fall out of my chair. Gear Guts Mech Shop popped into my my stream a couple days ago and showed off some of the stuff he was making. And in doing so, almost caused me to fall out of my chair. I saw that he actually gave a preview shot of his Mega Gargant, which is going to end up being twice the size of a Warlord class Titan. I don't know if I'm supposed to share that, but I guess so, since he shared it with me and it's been on stream. Yeah, he's really cool. I was really excited that, first of all, I started this just as kind of a hobby. Like, I'm not doing this because I want to, you know, reach 1 million people and make a lot of money off of streaming. I just happen to paint downstairs a lot, and so I figured, you know what? I enjoy painting, I enjoy talking to people, and I'd love to meet more people in the hobby, so I'm gonna start streaming. And now I'm just starting to meet all sorts of cool people, like another user here, Ohana Hobby Shop, Mango. He works with I'm forgetting the name of the company. They make a lot of games. They make a lot of good games, but he works with them. And we had Gear Guts Mech Shop in here. I feel like I can go brighter. I think I know what the problem is here. The problem is that there's supposed to be a little bit of spillover as the light spills into the rest, and that's not happening. That's why this looks so lame. Everything is just self-contained inside. Played Minecraft with it. Very cool. You know, Minecraft is a game that I've always wanted to get into, but I can't. And there's no criticism of Minecraft in my brain. Minecraft is phenomenal, and I believe it deserves all the praise it gets, and all of the fandom it gets, and everything else. I have nothing bad to say about Minecraft in terms of the game itself, except that I have severe motion sickness issues, and Minecraft triggers them like a gun. So I've tried to watch friends play Minecraft, and within 30 seconds, I'm nauseous and I have a headache. And it's just because of how quickly the first person stuff moves, and the fact that you're usually in like narrow areas. And so I've kind of given up on ever being able to play Minecraft, which is incredibly upsetting, because my wife, before we met, she was really, really big into Minecraft in like creator mode, because she's an artist who loves that kind of stuff. And I want to play Minecraft with my wife. She's a cool lady, and I want to enjoy things with her. But I can't, because Minecraft makes me sick. But I guess that's okay. I'll give it a shot again. The last time I looked at it was in college over 10 years ago. Maybe that wasn't the best introduction, and I should give it another shot, because I'd love to have another fun thing to experience with my wife. But yeah, I have really bad motion sickness, and it's prevented me from playing a lot of games that I've wanted to play. Like, I can't play Doom, any of them. I can't play like GoldenEye. It makes me violently ill. I can't play, I really wanted to play Necromunda Hired Gun. I played that for about 15 minutes before I almost threw up. So there's a lot of games that, I can't, like first-person shooters especially, that I cannot play because it makes me ill. What's weird is Halo is, yeah, they made it so you can turn off the bopping and such, makes things, yeah, that is true. If you got rid of the stride, that would probably help a lot. But like, that's a huge part of the movement. And then I'd be sad. I don't know. I think, like I said, I think I ought to just give it another shot. Maybe my motion sickness has improved a bit. Maybe not, but I'd be remiss if I didn't try one more time. Okay, that's providing more of like that unearthly swell of light that I was looking for earlier. There we go. That looks a million times better. I knew there was something wrong. Now we're starting to get it. And see, like I said, I got no complaints with Minecraft. Minecraft does awesome, awesome stuff, and it's engaged so many minds and helped them think creatively. Minecraft is the Lego of the console generation, and there's nothing wrong with that. Are you going to be using pigments on this project as well? Probably not. I don't own any. I honestly don't know the difference between like pigments and regular paints, because I am not very artistically inclined outside of this hobby. And I don't know what they are, but I don't have any. I think like the rust pigments and the powder pigments, I have none of them. If I were to find one that I thought would go well with the project, I'd give it a shot. But because I don't own them, nope, it's just gonna be regular paints, traditional paints. Though I do feel like, in a lot of ways, I'm severely limiting myself by not bothering to learn these things. Like, I don't use inks, ever. And it's partially because I'm scared of inks. But also just because I don't know how to use them. And I really don't want to screw up someone else's mini. But I feel like unless I learn how to use them... may I link a guy who uses... Please do. Please do. I'm at a point right now where I'd rather see new people and learn than pretend like, you know, no, that's okay, I'd rather just do it my way. That's a great way for me to lose money and clients. And also, this will work. I've never used inks or pigments myself. That's fair. Another thing that I wanted to do this channel for was, I'm a school teacher by day. I teach 9th grade English to kids who friggin' hate 9th grade English. And so a big part of my job is trying to make some concepts that go way above their heads, since most of them don't read at a 9th grade level. Try and make as many concepts as I can, as palatable and understandable as I can. Oh, that looked good. Look at that glow. I did a glow and it looked pretty good. But anyway, if I can do any kind of teaching with painting, I love to do it. I've had a couple people who have shown up for my stream that are very new to painting or struggle because of things like hand tremors. And so I've done what I can to really try and teach them different things like slap chop painting and the like, to help them find ways to paint without needing to have, you know, super precise skills or whatever. And so anytime I get a chance to learn a new skill, I'd be super glad, because it means I can also teach it to people now. Instagram, El Miniaturista. I think it's amazing. Oh, look at these minis. These are gorgeous. Follow, please. Yeah, these are fan-freaking-tastic. Thank you for linking that. I love the reaction to Slap Chop, because there's been such a polarizing reaction. There are people who love it, think it's great, and there are people who hate it and it goes against how they were trained. And I loved finding out that Slap Chop actually comes from a very, very old technique called grisaille underpainting, and realizing that that's something people have been doing for literally centuries, as a way to save on paints. There's some videos showing off the process. That's fantastic, and I'm gonna have to give. I am legitimately going to have to give them a watch. I promise it's not just lip service. Speaking of lip service, I'm really happy with how that turned out. It's a little washed out because of how the camera is and the lights are down here, but from where I sit, this stuff looks fantastic. And I'm really happy with how he turned it. Yeah, that looks awesome. Okay. I hope it's showing through okay. It looks really washed out in my reception screen, but it turned out pretty darn good. Let's try not to ruin it by messing up too much. Now that I'm going back over it. Speaking of things that turned out really good, and this is an incredibly awkward and clumsy segue, but I really want to talk about it, I finally watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Which I know has nothing to do with anything, but like, that's a movie that I've always heard is great, and I've always heard I'm gonna love it, and I've never sat down to watch it, but had some free time because I had some kids who were making up a test, and I had a bunch that weren't, and we just got through reading the Odyssey, so it's like, let's watch something that doesn't suck. And I'd heard Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was good, so I played it for them. And unfortunately, they weren't too interested because, you know, 9th graders in a city school. But I got a huge kick out of it. That movie's fantastic. I've been painting for closing on 2 years-ish. I'm not too good because I'm scared to try new things. Understandable. Well, you know what? I've been painting for about 3 now. I started during the pandemic. And I gotta say, the thing that got me over the fear was actually 3D printing models. I got a 3D printer when I moved into a new house because I had money from the previous house that I lived at that sold. And I used some of that money to buy myself a 3D printer. Have some New Year's resolutions for this year. You should. Hopefully they're all about trying new things and going large and learning some new skills. But yeah, getting a 3D printer and being able to just print models. And if you screwed up on it, cool, print another one. Throw it away, or paint over it again. That's all really helped with my painting. And also, every now and then, I would just get a mini that I wasn't too jazzed about. Like, cool mini and all, but I don't really care. And so that's when I would go ahead and really attempt to try new things. And the best example I can give you is that, there was a gentleman on Facebook, 2 new skills, having all my orcs painted to parade stand. Oh my god, that's a million orcs! So many orcs! And you're gonna try and paint them all to parade standard? You're some kind of legend. That's a lot of orcs. Good luck with that. I hope you the best of luck, and I can't wait to see how that's gonna go. I don't know how many you have, but I'm assuming since you're an orc player who bought a Bane blade, you have plenty. So good luck getting those orcs up to parade standard. They're gonna look so friggin' good when you do. And that is a cool project to have. One of the things that I've been working on, which I've talked about on the channel before, and it's kind of what I used to default to when I didn't have other projects before I started commission painting, is I won a local painting contest. And so one of the things that you're very picky, I usually end up painting things to parade standard either way. That's absolutely fair. Once I learned that I could, that became my MO too. But I'm sorry, my brain just potatoed on me. I can do this. 100 and oh my god. That's amazing. At some point, not today, but at some point when you feel the urge to, you should take a picture of your orc army and post it either in here or on the Discord, which, by the way, I have a Discord. So if you're interested in joining it, it's on my Twitch page. And you should post a picture of the entire army on parade. And then I can send it to my buddy in Michigan and make him drool, because he does not have that many orcs. He has a lot, don't get me wrong. He has a lot, can field quite a sizable army, but he does not have that many. There's not much going on in the Discord. I'm not going to try and lie to you about that. The Discord is very barren right now, and a lot of that is because I was suggested to make one, and I had no plans to make one in the first place. So it's like, okay, I'll make a Discord. Sitting at like 7,000 to 8,000 points. I know, right? That is so many orcs. And meanwhile, me as a fist player, I have a third of what you've got, and I was at about that. I'm not really liking how this flame's turning out. I think I'm gonna go ahead and redo this one later, but I'll leave it there right now. I think maybe if I add some darker spots where it breaks up the flame, because the flame looks painted on. That's a little bit better. 2 stompas, exactly. Actually, that's something he has now. He has 2 stompas, and neither of them are Games Workshop legal. The first one, I sent him something I found, which was called the Potato Masha. And it was a stompa someone had made out of a Mr. Potato Head. And he loved the idea so much, he went out and bought one and made it himself. And so, and its base is a bunch of popsicle sticks that he glued together in the form of a platform. And again, it's a beautiful model and I love it to death. And the other stompa is the one I showed you, the Mega Steppa. So do you have 2 official stompas? 100% by throwing through more planes, at least one each of the buggies. That is exactly what you should do. Buy more orc stuff, because orcs can never have enough good stuff. And again, my buddy in over in Michigan, he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't have a whole lot of money for this. So he has gone very heavily into kit bashing and coming up with like his own clans. And so I want to say it's his version of a truck, but it's actually a United States mail service Hot Wheel of some kind. Is he on the Discord? No, he's not. He's not on the Discord, but now that there's a fellow orc player on there who's just as enthusiastic about it, I probably ought to suggest him to get on the Discord so he can kind of see what other people are making. Yeah, unfortunately, because he's a couple of hours back, he hasn't been able to catch any of my streams. And for a while, when I was working on the Stompa, I forbade him from doing so because I didn't want to spoil it. He, let's see what you got. Let's see what's happening, because the Discord blinking at me. Oh, there you are. Hello. Yeah, he had no clue he was getting that thing. So originally, I had painted some of the Orca's boys, I guess they were, just their standard baseline unit. And he thought that was his Christmas present. He thought that was the big thing I was doing for him. And I painted him a proxied Gazkul. So not the real one, but, you know, a proxy of one. And he thought that was his Christmas present. And then I told him, wait, hold on a minute, these ain't it. I'm just giving these to you because I don't want them anymore. Let me go get your real Christmas present. And then I went downstairs and pulled it, and he was talking to my wife at the time, and he kind of mid-sentence just yelped when he saw the big thing that I had made him. So, made him very happy. And he's also blinging it out. He decided that his orc clan was going to be called the Gem Runners, because he's a real big fan of the hip-hop artist Run the Jewels. So he took that, and he uses a bunch of like dollar store jewelry and chains and whatnot, and he drapes it all over them so they look like they are just absolutely covered in drip. And I love it to death. Okay, what's that? What's that? Okay, nothing too important. Actually, yeah, they look really good too. I'll post some pictures of the Discord later. But what I actually am going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and log off in a minute because... Oh, wait a minute. Let me see. Let me check real quick. Posted some pics of my Mozrog on there. Let's see what this looks like. Showcase. Oh, yeah, look at him. Man, the orcs are so cool. I've said it before, and it's one of my favorite jokes, but everyone's second favorite army is orcs, unless it's their favorite army. And it's just because, how do you dislike the orcs, right? Everything about them is so cool. They don't take themselves too seriously. They, you know, do amazingly fun and silly things. They do amazingly badass things. They have such a great, they're such a great take on the universe. You know what I mean? Well, of course you know what I mean. It's 12:20 a.m. Yeah, I'm starting to realize most of my audience is over in Europe, and I have no problems with that. It's great. It just wasn't what I was expecting. Look at this Mozrog. What an absolute unit. Have you ever seen, did you watch, by any chance, the Adeptus Ridiculous video? That's not one of your orcs, those are some bloodletters. The Adeptus Ridiculous video on the orcs. Because they did one, and it's an older one, but it's fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Yeah, the eye and the exhaust on him looks really good. You did a great job with those, you should be proud. Okay. Let's see what I can do here. I feel like I can do more for the flame elements, but I'll get there eventually, I think. That needs to be bright. That should be bright. But yeah, by any chance, have you heard of or seen any of Adeptus Ridiculous's videos on the YouTubes? They've become really popular, so I wouldn't be surprised if you have. Okay, so Adeptus Ridiculous is a guy named Bricky, and he was a content creator who did stuff about video games. It was kind of his run-in commentary on video games. And eventually, someone asked him, one of his friends asked him to make a video about the Warhammer 40k factions. And my buddy Soft Servo, the person who got me into this stuff, he found it. And he sent it to me. I was like, this is a great video if you're learning about... Yeah, they're definitely more meme-worthy, because he's got a friend named DK who doesn't know a lot about 40k but is interested. And so he tells DK about things with 40k in kind of a very little bit deeper than surface level. But DK then reacts, and generally, because they're really old friends, they... You know, it's almost like two guys talking about 40k with some beers. They treat it very lightly. They marvel at some of the cool stuff. They joke at some of the silly stuff. And in general, it's just a good time. And in one of the episodes, to explain orcs, Ricky talks about a story he'd heard of, like, a planet that's being besieged by orcs. And, yeah, and there's some guardsmen. And the orcs, and they're defending an outpost, right? And the orcs just keep coming, and they just keep coming, and they just keep coming. And so they run out of bullets eventually because there's just too many orcs. And the company commander gets an idea, and with his empty rifle, he jumps up to the barricade and yells, "Bang!" I'm sorry you're not too fond of them. They definitely have their own thing. But yeah, he yells "bang," and then one of the orcs fall over dead. And obviously it's because they still think that the guy has bullets when he clearly doesn't. And all of the other soldiers see this, and they all start going bang, 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 bang. And more of the orcs start falling. And so they continue with this for a bit until there's this group of orcs that just won't fall. They just keep charging forward. And as they get closer, the Imperial Guard hears them repeating, "I'm a tank, I'm a tank, I'm a tank, I'm a tank." And yeah, that's obviously taken to an extreme, but that's kind of the orcs in a nutshell, and just how much fun they can be, I think. It's the story I tend to tell to people when they're interested in 40k, but they don't really know where to go with it. Sorry you're not too fond of them. Maybe it's just because different sensibilities, but I am very tickled by them. I'm kind of happy that, especially after... Okay, I'm glad that one was entertaining. Especially after, If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech device kind of died. For whatever reason, it did, that, we have someone else creating the humor out of 40k. Because it feels like, outside of some of the stuff that Games Workshop does... Oh. Okay, not found them, though. I'm sorry, I just misread it. Which is embarrassing because I'm an English teacher. That's okay. But yeah, they're really good. Like I said, he never goes too in-depth with whatever he's talking about because he needs to keep it palatable for DK. And he's not always correct. He does make some extrapolations that are clearly wrong. And he gets actually'd a lot for it. But by and large, his messaging is clear and true. I think your English is fantastic. Like I said, my biggest issue is that I can't read. Because you said exactly what you meant, and I just misread it because I glanced at it. In my defense, I'm also not wearing my glasses. And I'm very nearsighted, so I'm having to like glance over at the monitor and try and read it and relay it really quickly while focusing on trying to make these flames not look stupid. I'll be honest, if any second language that I was trying to learn, which could have been French, Chinese, or Japanese, if any of them were as good as your conversational level English is, I would cry tears of joy. Because every secondary language I learned did not end well. I was not very good at any of them. And I reinforced that stereotype that Americans only know one language and it's theirs, and they just refuse to learn it. Do I dare assume you use a wet palette? Heck yeah, I do. I found this wet palette. It's not even a mini painting wet palette. It was just kind of a wet palette that I found on Amazon when I was looking up wet palettes. And it's been really, really good. And one of the reasons why it's so good is that the wet palette paper, as well as the you know one more language than I do. So I don't think you should feel too bad. But then again, my metrics are definitely very different than your metrics, right? I mean, you live in Europe where multiculturalism is definitely a stronger thing. And so it's probably far more encouraged to know more than one language. In the United States, it's just like, speak English or get out, because we're too scared to learn other languages. But sign language, that's a cool one. But there's different variations on sign language, right? There's American Sign Language, and then there's British English Sign Language? I don't know. There's a lot. But one of my favorite things about this is that, I mean, you see the wet palette. It's not the biggest wet palette in the world, but for what I do and how little... Oh, it's mandatory there. That's fair. For how little painting I do, that's the size of my wet palette, and I think it works pretty well. It's, you know, about 8-9 inches long, but it also comes with this, and this has been a lifesaver. It's, you know, it's a dry palette and a tray to hold my brushes, and it's been fantastic for keeping everything together. And the next part of it is that I keep all my paints in a makeup box, makeup bag, makeup satchel. And it allows me to keep my paints and my tools together, so I'm not too worried about anything. Yeah, I'm really fond of it. And to be honest, the more I look at this, the more fond I am of the flame decals, or the flames that I've put on this guy. I will say, I'm really worried, I'm nervous about showing this to the client and being like, hey, this is how I did the flames, is this what you were thinking? Because if they're like, nah, do it over, this is more what I want, it's like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna go cry for an hour. Not really, I'm just paint over it. One of my favorite things about this hobby, but like, I need to upgrade my painting station badly, it's way too messy, I have no more room for paints. I don't have that many paints, actually. I have a decent number, like, I'm not hurting for paint. But I've also not created an extensive library of them. I think what ended up happening was I found the paints that I personally like, and the ones I see myself using the most, and I just keep those. You've got 167. Good gravy. Kudos to you for collecting that many. I kind of... So far, yeah. I kind of... If I don't have the color I want, I mix it. And then I promptly forget it, and so I better do it right that one time, because I'm never seeing that color again. But, one moment. Let me finish doing this. Let's see. Let's go ahead and zoom out a bit, because I can definitely show this to you guys. Let's go into ultra wide. My painting station's a little dingy because I'm in a basement, and so all of my lighting is focused in on my desk, but this is a majority of my paint. So that is the thing that I use to carry my Vallejo is great. I swear to God, Vallejo is great. You will not be disappointed if you switch to Vallejo. There's nothing wrong with Citadel. Citadel is also great, but I cannot deal with the paint pots. Something you can always do is transfer your stuff from paint pots to droppers. I've actually done that. Back when I first started, I had a ton of Citadel, and that's what I bought. And I started transferring them to droppers, which was remarkably easy. But this is what I use for my to store my stuff. In here, I have magnets. I have washers, which I use for the bottom of the bases. I have my knives and everything. And underneath, I have a wow stick, which is a drill. And this is basically the paint range I use. This is all I really need. That is true. So, this is pretty much it. I have everything I need in here, and I very rarely have had to go out of this range. I've got a metallic range right there that I use. I've got black, a gray, and a white. I've got the washes, which I do like having them in pots. I have a bunch of off-whites and khakis, a brown, some greens, blue, purple, red, orange, pink, and a couple shades of yellow, and a skin tone. And I think that's a skin tone. This is a fair skin tone. And that's pretty much it. That's all I've really needed. And it probably has made my palette very limited. But, I haven't needed to expand. Eventually, I'm probably going to have to. Eventually, I'm going to reach a point where that's going to be nowhere near enough. But for what I've been doing, it's been working fine. Okay. Now that I think about it, give me a second. I haven't heard from... Okay. I gotta say, I'm a little less discouraged by these flames. I think I'm just too picky, scared to try and mix my own paints because it's hard to get the exact same shades using the pots. You're darn right it is. Mixing paints by yourself is foolish, and you shouldn't really do it unless it's only for the one job that you'll finish. I say that as someone who mixes his paints all the time. Generally, you can kind of figure it out unless you're going too heavy into the mixtures, because it's usually like one part of this, one part of that, and swirl it in the wet palette. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was just checking in on a friend. But yeah, usually it's just one part of this, one part of that. And that typically is enough to get you the colors you need. Transferring it to dropper bottles will take so long. That is true. I didn't realize you had that many when I talked about how easy it was to do. I mean, what you could do as kind of a compromise is, first of all, the dropper bottles are dirt cheap. You can get like 100 of them for like $20, I think. But secondly, the colors you use the most. You know what I mean? If you're painting orcs, what are the 10 colors you use the most? Or if you're painting Slaves to Darkness, what are the 10 colors you use the most, right? And I'd keep the contrast paints and the shades in the dang pots. They're perfect there. I don't like putting those in dropper bottles, because then I feel like I'm wasting them when I puddle them into the palette. But yeah, like the ones you use the most, and transfer only those. And I just kind of use a cheap brush. And you know what's really sad? I kind of wish I practiced this a little more before doing it, because now that I've kind of got the idea of what these flames can look like, I feel like they're looking really good. And I didn't have that energy on the first couple. It's okay. Client will see it. Client will tell me what they feel about it. Okay. A little bit brighter down here. A little bit brighter down here. Brighter down here. Because that's what I did. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and stop myself again, because I have the attention span of an ant. First of all, big pro wrestling fan, so that definitely a thing. There's all my dropper bottles that I transferred stuff over from. And also some speed paints and some other stuff. But like, Katie and Flesh Tone, look at that. All I did was I had a small funnel and a little bit of paint thinner. And for the ones, that is true. If you have a ton of projects, that makes it more difficult. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely going to be an afternoon, but once you do it, once you get it done, it definitely is better. It's Ethereal Yellow. Hey, there's a Vallejo. But to be honest, I don't use these very often. I don't have a need for them. Like, for example, I've said before, I paint Imperial Fists, right? And what they recommend for Imperial Fists is to start with Averland Sunset and then do a highlight of Ethereal Yellow, right? And then if you're going for Parade Standard, do an even highlightier highlight of Flash Gets Yellow, right? It's like, why? I can take my Averland Sunset and just add some khaki to it, or some pale sand. And then if I need to make it brighter, add more pale sand. And those get me the same highlights. You have Orcs, Death Guard, and Chaos Warriors to paint. You have a lot going on there. I am also a Death Guard fan. I like the Death Guard. I have a lot of Death Guard. I'm going to be making a Death Guard Chaos Knight army. I've already started with the collector's box that came out not long ago. But this looks a lot better than I thought it was going to. Anyway, what was I saying? But yeah, I don't use my Citadel paints anymore, because I feel like anything that needs to be done with them, I can do better with Vallejo's, like 2 or 3 paints that I'm gonna actually use. Chaos Warrior is gonna be Kit Bash into Space Vikings. Very cool. Space Vikings are a good idea. 100% GW paint is thick AF. It is. I actually like that about Games Workshop paints, though. Like, the fact that they're so densely pigmented means that I need less of it when I'm mixing it. You know what I mean? Or when I water it down. And I think that's freaking awesome. And it's actually, I mean, if you looked at my wet palette a second ago, you could probably see that I have very, very tiny droplets. I don't use a lot of paint. And that's entirely because I got used to Games Workshop's paint pigments being so damn thick that I would only need, you know, half a dime size to get anything done. And so I'm actually really fond of the fact that Citadel paints are so thick, because it allows me a lot of time to thin and mess with. Yeah, but when you have a good paint, the pigment is there even in thin levels. That is true. That is very, very true. When you have really thick pigments, or really good pigments, it doesn't matter how thick the actual paint is. The medium in Citadel is just too damn thick. Which is a fair statement. When it dries on the lid, that is why I switched over to dropper bottles. I got so tired of that happening. Okay, what can I do here? First of all, yep, transferring to droppers is the way to go, and not as difficult as you'd think it is. It just takes some time that you may or may... God dang it. Don't paint on wet paint. Give me a second. Now it's dry paint. Having a cheap hairdryer underneath my desk that I can just grab and use when I need it has been a blessing. Okay. Now, let me go back a little bit with some... I didn't realize that was a thing until I had too many pots to really... Again, same problem. Same problem. It was definitely like, I've got X number of pots, and I don't want to transfer them. Because that was a suggestion that Soft Servo came up with. And it was just like, no, I've got too many of them already. But yeah, like I said, just don't try and do it all at once. Just do it in chunks. Do it as you need them. If you got a paint that you rely on and need a lot of, then you can do it then. And also, don't listen to us if you don't want to. Like, if you really have an aversion to it and it's just not worth your time, then don't fold to the peer pressure, right? Do what makes you happy. Because that's what we're all here for. Do what you want to do when you want to do it. I'm not liking how this looks. On the back, it just looks like spackles, which is not a good look. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can muff that up a little bit. It's too much white, and I do not like. And so we're going to go ahead and turn this into some kind of horror show with more of that. Some more of that. You want to see how Benry paints has no clue what he's doing? Look at him try and fix the flames on the back of this thing's leg. I'm probably going to end up buying the entire Vallejo model color line one by one as I run out of Citadel paints. That's another thing you can do. That's kind of what I tried to do. Once I ran out of Abaddon Black, I just switched over to Citadel. I mean, Vallejo. So that's also perfectly valid. And like when I ran out of Mephiston Red, I think is what I was using a lot of, I just switched over to the Vallejo color match equivalent. That actually, I accidentally made that look better. That's okay. Let's see what else I can do. Nope, I can't do that because that is the gold armor. So, I think it's 645. You prefer the consistency of Vallejo paints? Yeah, they definitely are really nice. I did that with my GW paints, replaced with Pro Acryl. Pro Acryl's apparently fantastic too. I've heard a lot of good about them. I actually, because I watch a lot of the YouTube painter dudes like Ninjon and Midwinter Minis and Squidmar and the one I'm actually trying to get to, Miniac. Miniac mentioned. And actually, let's name some other painters in there, too, that deserve more praise. Lila Mev and Dana Howell. They're both fantastic. But anyway, what happened? Oh, it's still there. Miniac mentioned that to use as kind of like a not black, but as a black, he uses scale 75, like I think it's dark deep blue or steel blue or something. And I decided I'd go ahead and try it, and I bought the scale 75 and model color. And I'll be honest, the first time I used it, I thought it was trash, but that's because I didn't understand how the gel pigment worked. And now that I've got a better agitator, I'm in love with it. And so I kind of want to expand my model line into, or my paint line into scale 75. And as it turns out, the gentleman who runs the local game store that I go to, he only has Army Painter and Citadel right now, but he is going to expand into scale 75. And so I just straight up told him, look, I'm going to stop buying paints off the internet if you do that. Bezos is not going to get my money anymore. You're going to get more of my money. And I managed to convince him, like really convince him to go ahead and do this last Saturday. So hopefully soon I can start cycling out my Vallejo line for Pro Acryl. Or not Pro Acryl, scale 75. Because I was really enamored with what I got. The dark jade as a base for a nice black. That does sound like a good color. What I've been doing to try and get some depth in a lot of my black is I mix the Vallejo black. In fact, let me find it. There's scale 75. Oops, don't fall. Thank you. Nice spin. I mix Vallejo model color black with scale color deep blue, and it creates this nice blue sheen over the black, and it's one of my favorite looks. I haven't quite perfected it yet, but it definitely gives some really fun dimension to the black that wouldn't be there, which I'm assuming is what the jade does that you use. The dark jade is it probably gives that really nice extra hint of color in there that isn't quite a different color, but very clearly isn't just black. Okay. I'm cleaning up. It's time. I'm gonna go hit things now. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to hit the mic. A little bit of Dawnstone mixed into black looks all right as well. Exactly. Matter of fact, this was one of my first experiments with it. I did it with Kayvon Shrike, and you can see that even though he is black, he's got some very clearly, very amateurly done highlights with that blue added in, and I just think it adds a little bit more. So I'm really happy that I started doing that. Thank you. But yeah, it's, first of all, this looks a whole lot better than I thought it was going to. I'm pretty happy with how this guy's turning out. I gotta work a little bit more on the flames to get it more consistent, because like that doesn't look good. I don't like just the splotchies. And but some of this looks fantastic. I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of how that looks. That looks good. That's A+ work. Go me. I think I actually am going to be a little lazy, and I'm going to use a wash. No, I'm not going to use a wash. That's going to dull it all down. I'm going to have to do very subtle shading on all of the muscularity. But the next big thing for me is going to be to get all of this trim painted non-metallic metal gold. Well, actually, I don't even know if I'm going to use gold. I need to talk to the client. They said, non-metallic, true metallic, but they didn't say what color. So I'll have to do that. And at some point, I'm going to have to paint their backpack so they can go off to lunch. But that being said, it's 10 to 7 for me. I've been streaming now for 2 hours. Never feels like 2 hours. It always feels like it flies. But I got a friend coming over. We're going to go hit things so we can get back into shape. Do that fun stuff. Oh, if you don't already have one, by the way, please get yourself one of these. These are so good. I love it to death. It's like, Benry paints. Why do you have a nipple? Let me show you why I have a nipple. If you have not already used a vortex mixer, it does the good. It shakes up your stuff Like this was not working right. The medium was so mixed from it, I could not use it. But after like 10 seconds on a vortex mixer, it was suddenly one of my favorite paints. So, Crow comes with the glass agitator in it. Yes, that definitely helps. Don't get me wrong. I put a marble, like I put an agitator in my stuff, and it does a pretty okay job. But like, it gets tiring shaking the paint, and I know that sounds lazy, but having that has completely changed the game for me. Having that, getting the wow stick, both of those have been fantastic. Another thing, if you want to drill barrels, get one of these. Stop drilling the barrels by hand with a pin vise. Get yourself one of these wow sticks. They're very expensive. They're like $70, but they're worth every penny. Like a peasant. Army Painter sells them in large groups, which is pretty fantastic. In fact, let me see. Do I have any that I have not drilled? I gotta show this off. You guys should see this. I think I've pre-drilled like everything because I'm a good bean. Let's see. Do I have anything that hasn't been drilled? Okay. So like this barrel has been drilled very poorly. So all you do, I'm sorry, I like showing this off. You guys probably already know how this works. And look at that. Look at that barrel. It may be off center because the original one was, but wow sticks are great. These are fantastic tools. I got them for Christmas. I'm super excited about them. But okay. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks for sticking around. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your evening and the rest of your, like, most of you guys are really late. Go to bed. Go to sleep. Get the rest and have a great rest of your evening, guys. If I don't see you tomorrow, thank you again for joining in, and later. Bye-bye.